Oh shit. Dang it. I was talking to you guys and my mic was off. Oh man. I'm here sitting here saying good morning to everybody my lovely mod Fuzzy, and I was saying hi to Brandon and Moses, and who else? Jackie, lovely Jackie. Thank you for being a Monster Squad member, Jackie. Really appreciate that. Same thing, Moses. Appreciate that, man. Sin, good morning to you. Jackie, I already said hi. Get as vile and nasty as you want, MLH. It's your stream. Well, one thing's for sure, Jackie. I'm gonna be as vile and nasty as I possibly can be, which probably is not gonna be vile and nasty. You guys know me. Joseph F, nice to have you here. Oof. He says, oof. Beachcomber. Thank you for being a Monster Squad member as well. MTK is in the house. Chris on the drums is in the house. I was gonna start in 3 minutes, Joseph, but I get antsy. You guys know I can't uh get away with not starting early, you know? Give you guys extra 3 minutes of me talking. Paige, welcome in, staggering in. Are you on a hangover, Paige? KT Peta, nice to see you in green there, KT. Janet from another planet, good morning to you. Gloria, good morning to you as well. I'm sure we'll have plenty more people in here. Hit that like button on the way in if you haven't already. We got 33 people in there as of right now, and I'm sure more will be popping in within the next 5 minutes, because usually that's what it takes, is 5 minutes for people to get those notifications, right? Um, Make sure and hit that like button for me. That really helps. I know people were bitching about me asking for support monetarily through this month, which has been, for obvious reasons, a down month. DT's been on hiatus now, what, over a week? So, you know, I understand, you know, I understand why there's about a third of the support monetarily. It's because people want to hear my cohorts more than they want to hear me, my colleagues, right? No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for all for being here. I've got to talk about some stuff, right? Obviously, the horrific shooting in Utah involving Charlie Kirk, who, by the way, is not a politician. I don't know why people are treating it as though a politician got assassinated, but it is what it is. NJS, welcome with the burrito shell emoji. Cricket Cinema, welcome to you. Good day to you, sir. Nice to have you here. Cricket Cinema, I think back on our fleeting time on these interwebs, and for the longest time, I thought you were a female. So I would always greet Cricket Cinema with the, like I always do, the waving emoji with the double heart symbol for females, right? And one day he's like, "You do realize that I'm not a chick, MLH, right?" Or something to that effect, Cricket Cinema. I don't think you were as crude as I just said, but yeah, you know, interwebs, Cricket Cinema. Nice to have you here. Anna from Canada, the lovely Anna from Canada. How are you? Thank you. Hey Anna, I don't say it enough. Thank you for being a Monster Squad member and a big time supporter of the channel. I really appreciate it. I was just talking about and welcome to the grift portion of the show, everybody. Where I talk about how, you know, I was saying that I'm going to need all the support I can this month because of DT being on hiatus and stuff. And some people just ran with that like it was the worst thing ever. Like I had, I don't know, like shot their mom or something. Um, Comment: does anyone find it convenient that he was off the day before 9/11? Um, well, yeah, we're gonna talk about it here in a minute. KT, what's up, Cracky? Nice to have you in here. You know I'm a dude, right? Yeah, I think that's what it was. Cricket Cinema. Um, okay, so I do wanna talk about it because it's kind of, the topic du jour. People coming to assumptions, including the president of the United States, people like Nance Mace, who automatically blamed the left for, you know, the shooting. And, like I said, when even when, the failed, Trump assassination attempt, I was like, "Let's not rush to judgment and blame because that's all we're doing is just sowing more dissension into a world of dissension, especially here in the United States." Fradi, I don't know if I said hi to you, but welcome. Nice to have you here. Um, I look, before I start talking about this stuff, I know it's a very divisive topic to talk about, but I do want to take the time to say I feel really bad for the family, Charlie Kirk's family, his wife. He has kids. He obviously is, got more family than that, an extended family, and I feel terrible about the whole thing. Um, I know I was accused of, saying things like far right, and that threw people into a frenzy. But at the end of the day, I'm a human being, and I know people have human emotions and feelings, and I can't imagine how Charlie Kirk's family is feeling right now. So I just want to take a quick moment to recognize that I am not in any shape, form, fashion condoning any type of violence. As a matter of fact, people that have been on my channel for a while know that I, I'm I'm a pacifist. I can be passionate at times, especially when I'm trying to hold government officials to account. I can be fiery. I can say nasty, vile things. Um, I think it was awful. I got a chance to, against my better nature, see the uncensored version of what happened in Utah, and it's horrific. And I don't recommend anybody search out those videos because it is trauma inducing. It's awful. He didn't deserve it. Nobody deserves that treatment at all. And I just want to say that we have to stop rushing to judgment and blaming everybody for everything. Okay, we have to be better than that, right? MTK says extremism feels good, and the dark forces behind this charge are taking advantage of that fact to psychologically whip the public into a frenzy for their own ill will. I agree, Matthew. It's sad, however, in my opinion, it took away from people who have been mourning. Um, I want to make some comparisons today, and this has no political bearing whatsoever. I just want to make it very clear. I've made it clear to everybody on this channel before and on RP Grinders for decades now that I carry no party affiliation. As a matter of fact, I can't stand either major political party in this country. I can't stand the Republican Party, not the Republican people, right? Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of people on this channel that share conservative values and I do have some conservative values built in me. Fiscal conservatism, reducing government, the whole Republican motto. But I also have democratic values as well. Um, I have extreme views on certain things. Like I believe that I don't think this is extreme, but I believe that everybody deserves a fair wage for the work that they do. Um, I believe that healthcare should be a human right. I don't think any of us should have to worry about where we get care from and that, where we're gonna find the money to be able to live. Um, Life is hard enough. Why should we, as the richest country in the world, have to worry about, you know, if I get sick, can I afford to pay for that bill? That should never be a thought in any of our minds. Matter of fact, worldwide, I don't think anybody should have to worry if they get sick, if they can afford the treatment. It's a matter of life and death, right? And then people tell me, well, where are we going to pay for that? It's always about money, right? It's always about money, right? Let's worry about the money. I like money just like the next person, y'all. I'm not going to sit here and say that money doesn't make the world go round because you can't live without money. But I think it's a necessary evil. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish we could be in a society where everybody had their fair share of everything that we accomplish. I truly believe that billionaires shouldn't exist. I agree with that too, Rib Guy. It's all about money. I can take that one step further though, Rib Guy. It's not only big pharma, it's corporations. Corporations in this country make it almost untenable to live here, you know? Yeah, I agree with that too, Chris. It's all about greed and money. So we can just take that and extend it to corporations, Chris. And then we can talk about politics in itself too. Love of money. That's right, Matthew. The love of money, right? One dozen eggs, $8. That's way too much for eggs. Why does it always have this is something that always baffled me, y'all. Why do we always have to raise the price on everything? You know? I think it's just a manufactured thing that, you know, we have to charge more money for certain things, gas. When I was a kid, gas was 55 cents a gallon. And now what is it? I think in California it's up to what? $7? 6, $7? Why? Why is that? Just because of where you live? Why is the difference in California? The gas is, $6, $7 a gallon in California, but yet here in Denver it's around 350. Stockholders over humanity. That's right, Rib Guy. I hate it. Laura Vladi, welcome. Big Chief in the house. What's up, Hefe? Nice to have you here. People need to learn to squat and squawk, not LOL. Yeah. Inflation is the manifestation of greed. 100%, Matthew. There are a lot of inherent problems here. Our political system is one of them, y'all. I'm here to tell you that the problem with this country is the politicians. It's not the American people. We're way more alike than we are different. We're way more alike than we are different. The rich keep getting richer while the hungry children cry. Yeah. Janet, I agree. I totally agree. It's a little different in Canada. At least you guys got healthcare. I mean, a lot of Canadians bitch about it, but hey, you get sick, you get a broken ankle, and you go get treated, and how much are you going to get charged up there in Canada, Janet? Why doesn't the United States have something similar? Instead, look how insane this is here in this country, y'all. When we get sick, we have to rely on our own healthcare, right? And our healthcare usually is tied to the place that we work. Love Canada for our healthcare. See, Janet? That's something that you guys can be proud of, right? You don't go broke by going to the doctor, you know? Nobody should ever have to go broke going to the doctor. Adam, welcome. Thank you for being a Monster Squad member, Adam, and I appreciate your comment. He says we need to construct an economics based on efficiency gains and capital circulation over perpetual unchecked growth. I agree. And you know what that has to do with, Adam? The Federal Reserve. I didn't used to believe that the Federal Reserve was an evil entity or anything like that. But the more and more that I learn, the more I find out that the Federal Reserve doesn't give a fuck about any of us. All it cares about is unchecked growth. It's like its own animal, you know. But let's get back to the healthcare discussion here, guys. In this country, you're tied to whatever care plan you got, and that's dictated by your employer. You quit your job, you lose your health care until you get on with another company that, again, it dictates what health care you get. My husband had deep brain stimulation surgery for Parkinson's. That was totally free, and his neurologist appointments still are free. Janet, that's what I'm talking about here. Can you imagine, Janet, living here in the United States in the same predicament? And your healthcare company may or may not cover those treatments or but you still have to pay tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for that surgery and care. That's what we have to deal with in this country, even though it's completely unnecessary. I agree, Matthew. Even most paid healthcare in the United States is trash. The issue is that healthcare isn't healthcare. It's sick care. We don't even know what we're paying for. That's right. That's right. December 1913 is when the Federal Reserve took over America. Oh, Cobra. Don't get me started on Cobra insurance, KT. You quit a job and they offer you Cobra, where you have to pay $1,000 or 1,500 out of pocket right away in order to continue the coverage that you got that's shitty in the first place. Why does a Band-Aid cost 100? Why does a Tylenol cost, or an aspirin or an ibuprofen cost $100? Rib guy. When you can go to Sam's Club and buy a big bottle of ibuprofen for what, 15 bucks? I don't particularly like to engage in politics in certain channels. I have other channels that I subscribe. I'm not talking politics here, Jen De Leon, but welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm not talking about politics here because I can't stand politics, Jen. I hate it. I love the American people. I can't stand our politics here. I can't stand either party because both are wrong. Both the political parties are wrong. You know who I believe in? The people. That's who I believe in, and that's why I fight for the causes that I fight for here. Machines slash systems will never care about people, especially for those who run them. They don't care. That's right, Cricket Cinema. No, it would have been about 75 to 100,000 for each sensor. There are two. Ah, see? That's what I'm talking about, Janet. But your country has an inherent advantage over ours because your people won't go broke. And there's cost controls with that too, Janet. You know, nothing is overcharged over there because there's no need for overcharging over there. Everybody just knows to charge the least amount possible because it's for the benefit of the people. And that's what I'm talking about here. FDR managed to create a social safety net without using a trace of left wing rhetoric. It can be done. Yeah, yeah, Adam, can be done. I had a cardiographic injury as a teen. My parents went bankrupt from the bills, even though my dad belonged to a union and had amazing insurance. Why should that have happened, Paige? Your dad worked hard to get where he was. Good morning, Lady B. Nice to have you here. Catastrophic. Yeah, I thought that's what you mean. A catastrophic injury. Yeah, Paige. I won't necessarily block someone with political differences, but others may choose to block me. Yeah, I get that. And that's the problem, Jen. We only have two major political parties in this country. Matter of fact, in some states, If you register as a certain party, you can't vote in the other primary. Why? Why? Why do we even have political parties like that? It drives me nuts that we're already automatically out the gate divided in this country 50-50. You're either Republican or Democrat. And I know what people are going to say. Well, we got the Green Party, we got independents, we got the really? Do you really have that? Dental insurance is really I agree, Sin. Lynn Stout wrote an interesting book about overturning shareholder supremacy. It's called The Myth of Shareholder Value. That's a bigger problem than the Fed. Well, they're both problems. Adam, I agree. Corporations and oligarchies own this corporatocracies and oligarchies own this country, Adam. Mine's going okay, but I got to be at work at 3. I'll try to make this brief for you, Lady V. I'll try not to take too much of your time. I know you guys' time is super valuable. I haven't had health insurance in 8 years, been to the doctor maybe twice, and well, see, I'm sure if you could, without going bankrupt, Matthew, you'd wanna get checkups on the regular, right? Blood work and the like. There are wait times for some surgeries like knee and hip replacement, but it does get done, you know? We didn't start the fires, is still relevant today, I agree, KT. No, I agree, Jen, I wasn't taking that as a slight at all, Jen, at all, at all. You don't have to worry. I love you guys, you know, for the most part. Every once in a while, I get an annoying troll in my chat, but I have a thicker skin than what people give me credit for. You know, it's just things like I don't know. I was thinking about this Charlie Kirk thing, right? And also, I'm going to make some comparisons. So let's take some deep breaths here and kind of go through my rationale and my thinking of recent events. So recently there was a woman, I believe somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was either New York, New Jersey, but there was a woman on the subway that got murdered. I mean, it's on camera, by a deeply disturbed man. Um, and I love you guys, Matthew. I really do. I hope it comes through in the way that I speak and sometimes we work through differences. We can have differences of opinion on a lot of things. That's what makes us human beings, right? Charlotte, she was on a train. That's right. Let's talk about that. That also was horrific. It was in New York, KT says. Let's talk about that, right? Oh, it was North Carolina and it was on the train. Okay, Charlotte, North Carolina. See? That's why, got the fact wrong. It's in North Carolina. It's North Carolina. Horrific. Absolutely horrific. CBF, welcome. Nice to have you here. Thank you for being a Monster Squad member. Matter of fact, all the members in chat, thank you all so much for being Monster Squad members. I hope you guys keep those, even if they were gifted. $3 a month. I hope I at least bring um, $3 worth of enjoyment to your month. Um, I know I live in North Carolina. Okay, Lady V, I'm gonna trust it. It was North Carolina. Yeah, Ukrainian refugee. There's so much to unpack there, but I'm going to uh Spooky Dicker Trickster. Nice to have you here. Welcome. Um, let's talk about it, okay? But I'm going to make some comparisons here. You guys know what I've dealt with here in Aurora for a recent event, right? There was a cop that shot an unarmed black guy here in Aurora, Colorado. Right? Let's make some comparisons. I'm not even gonna let's throw Charlie Kirk out of the mix for just a second and let's make some comparisons here. So what are the difference between these two cases, right? And that's the question that I pose. Number one was picked up nationally, one was not. Why is that? I'm going to ask you that. I'm going to ask all of you. What are your theories? Why do you think that The tragedy that happened in North Carolina got picked up nationally, but the cop that killed Ray Jean here in Aurora, Colorado didn't get picked up. I have a theory, and I want to see your theories. I seen the video. It was very disturbing to see that video. It was awful, Lady B. It was an awful, awful tragedy. She was so pretty, Jackie says. Came to America in 2020, I believe. That's part of it right there, Jackie. New name says white woman. Lying media, Matthew says. And you know what? It's all of those things. Cop Story didn't want that smoke. It's all of that. Blonde white woman sell ads. Yeah. They're compelled by and beholden to their corporate interests, right? So there should be no comparison, and I'll tell you why there should be no comparison, because human beings are human beings. We all bleed the same. We all go through the same set of emotions. We're all people, right? When I was talking to Bernie about this, Bernie was incensed about um, the stabbing in North Carolina, and disturbed and upset. And she was also upset about what happened in Aurora because she's close to me and she understands what I do and being an activist and doing activist things. But there was a clear contrast to the outrage, which I pointed out to her. Why why isn't there similar outrage, was my question to her, with Rajon. They both were horrific. They both were terrible. Both shouldn't have happened. And then, and I mean, she followed the story and she was incensed at different things that the media was saying, like, there was a GoFundMe for the guy that stabbed the woman, and I pointed out to her, these are natural um reactions, natural reactions to some of the things that come out. You Of course the initial feeling is, why is this guy getting any type of support, right? It's not support. Think about the situation. Because American society values some lives more than others. There you go. There's another true statement. Spooky. Didn't hit media immediately. It took 2 or 3 weeks. Well, but why did that hit and certain other things don't hit? Colonialism remains. I agree. Media doesn't feel they're newsworthy or not enough drama to uncover. Yeah. Well, or they're you know protecting cops. Cops are heroes, right? We're conditioned, it's tradition, right? We're conditioned to believe that cops are our heroes. Northern Girl, welcome. As a Canadian, I'm so grateful for our healthcare. My partner was in the hospital for 3 weeks, one in ICU, and all it cost me was parking. See? It's the way it should be, Northern Girl. I wish that's how it was here. So back to this comparison that I'm trying to get across to you all. On one side, we have a white woman killed by a black man. On the other side, we have a black man killed by a white cop. One story gets picked up nationally, the other one gets swept under the rug. You know what I'm saying to both of these? They're both equally horrendous. They're both equally horrendous. I can't stand either one. Why is the president of the United States asking for the death penalty of the guy who stabbed the young blonde refugee from the Ukraine? Is it because he was black? These are just questions that I'm asking, right? Where's the president calling for the death penalty for this cop that summarily executed Ray Jean here in Aurora? This isn't a political thing. I just told you guys I'm neither Republican nor a Democrat. Can't stand any politician. Name the politician. Donald Trump can't stand him. JD Vance can't stand him. Nancy Pelosi can't stand her. Chuck Schumer can't stand that spineless piece of shit. I can't stand any of them. Why is there such a difference? It's time we have to change our rationale and our thinking with these things. This is a human being problem. It's not about being black, white, none of it. We have to start caring about all of these things equally in equal measures. We all have to start feeling the same feelings that I have. We're all supposed to be created equal, right? But yet, a lot of us aren't treated equal. No president should be weighing in on any of these cases. I agree. You know what should be coming out of the president's mouth? Sympathy for all of them. I'm aware. And justice will be served type thing. Good morning, Fabriz. Nice to have you here, buddy. Take a life on purpose, lose yours. I don't know about that, rib guy. Think that's an easy way out. I don't believe in the death penalty for a myriad of reasons. One of them is just that. It's the easy way. Too easy. There's no punishment there. They abandoned Ukraine to repulsive violence, also target refugees, but now want to make a Ukrainian refugee their martyr. Hmm. Stop asking questions, new name says. I have the impulse to answer. I have an assignment I'm trying to work on. I hear you, new name. These are things that I just think about and contemplate quite often. I can't stand what's going on recently in this country. And it's only going to get worse if you look at the history of violence, especially political violence. Even though Charlie Kirk was definitely not a politician, I want to point that out to people. He was an influencer, which brings me back to a point that I really want to talk to you guys about. There was a reason why I did a little venting session on Wednesday about this cop doxing me on one of my streams. There was another stream that another YouTuber who shall not be named, who called for my deportation and my wife's deportation and my mom's deportation. Um, that affected me greatly because it brought a personal bend on something that shouldn't have gotten to real life, all because I said the term far right. Why should I be deported? Does anybody have any inkling of why I should be deported? Does anybody in here feel the same way that that person felt? The only reason I bring this up is because I was miffed on Wednesday. I was really miffed because now you brought something that seemed unfathomable into real life. Yeah, you also said far left on that same stream, but some people don't listen. Yeah. People like that are just looking for maximum shock value, not truth. Well, no doubt, Chris, but the damage was done, right? I think this Charlie Kirk shooting proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that even people like me have to be very wary of what people say about me uh, on the internet, taking things to real life. It became really real with the Charlie Kirk shooting, right? He thought he was invulnerable. Nothing could happen to him. That's why he was arrogant enough to, have that debate with people on a Utah campus. You should be a fence rider, real guy says. They didn't lose their free speech rights when the Minnesota legislators were struck down, and you don't lose your free speech rights right now. Well, that's just the thing, Adam. There are consequences to the First Amendment, right? Yeah, in this country, we do have a right to say what we want, but there are consequences for saying uh, things. Words matter. Calling someone something they aren't in the public forum has consequences. That's what we're talking about here. Talking about the consequences of these things, right? They're not hurting my spirit, Matthew. What they're doing is they're bringing something to real life that is a very real reality, right? Does this mean that I'm not gonna say what I need to say on this channel? No. That doesn't mean that. The Vegas streamer thing was closer to home than Charlie for you. Well, no, Witchy. They're all close to home for me, you know? All because of recent events, you know? I mean, is it too far out of the question that this guy or one of his followers decides, "You know what? Fuck MLH. He's a piece of shit Mexican. He needs to go." Is it too far out of the question to think that someone wouldn't call ICE to come to my house? This is why I was so upset at that cop, which, by the way, I have an update on it. I have an update on that. There was no wrongdoing. He was courteous. And here's another thing. Yeah, he did put it did put a bullseye on my back and my family, KT. They want you to be afraid. It bewilders them that you're not bowing down to their fear mongering. And I won't, CBF. And I've said this before. If it ends up, I made a pact with KDOT when I first started the 1A thing on this channel, CBF, that KDOT and I were willing to take a bullet for our cause. And I mean it. Do I want that to happen? Absolutely not. I like living. I like spending time with Bernie. I love spending time with my parents. That was wild, which he says. Charlie's more akin to like MLK. He wasn't a streamer, he was famous. That's right. He wasn't even a politician, Witchy. It's a good apt comparison. Now, whether or not you espouse the values of what Charlie Kirk said, which, by the way, Charlie Kirk would have agreed that, some deaths are necessary in order to keep the Second Amendment intact. It was a low blow to threaten me, Barbara, but that's okay. Not going to stop doing what I'm doing just because somebody on the internet says, I'm going to call ICE on you. But is it a legit uh, thing that could happen? Absolutely. Absolutely, it could happen. Do I think that I'll be deported? No, I don't think I'll be deported. I'm too high profile in the Denver metro area to even think that that's, I guess it's possible. It is possible. It's definitely possible, right? I don't know. Not gonna stop doing what I'm doing, but the comparisons are there. There's a lot wrong with the United States. There's a lot wrong. More than what we care to admit. And a lot of it has to do with the corporations controlling this country. You want to include healthcare corporations in that, I'm with you. They deported that influencer with like 2 million subs live on their stream last month. Well, I'm not saying it can't happen to me, witchy, but I mean, I am a citizen. I was born here, you know. No, Fadra is nobody ever changed. And you know what? Charlie Kirk was humiliated several times, but he never changed his stance on anything, which I guess is admirable, you know. We have lots of ice sightings in my neighborhood all the time, Twyla says. She was illegal though. I don't think any human being is illegal, Witchy, but I get what you're saying. I have a cousin like that too. Yeah. Let's face it, you don't have an accent. They only want the ones with accents. So I don't know. CBF. I mean, the world we're living in is super crazy. I mean, look what happened. I mean, I saw the video. What happened to Charlie Kirk? He didn't deserve it. His family didn't deserve it. I agree with what Fuzzy was saying. At least he wanted to have discourse. There was a time when American women who married a non-citizen actually lost their citizenship. Yeah, yeah, that was a while back. I think this country should be open to anybody who wants to work hard for a living, which most of the people that come here want to work hard for a living. It's a reason that people used to come here. You guys realize that the amount of people that go out of this country now for the first time recently is more than the people that are coming into this country? That's something that people won't tell you, right? Because we're conditioned to hate. We're conditioned to hate brown people and black people in this country. And certain white people too. If you don't got enough money, white people aren't out of the mix on this. If you don't have enough money, white people, if you're poor, well, welcome to the club. KT. Yeah, it is getting scary, witchy. I agree. What really pissed me off was the low life that said it. Lazy ass drunk that threatens a lot of people all the time. Well, Jackie, I'm here to say that I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm just very aware and very leery of those type of threats. You know what I'm saying, Jackie? Just tell them you have a white friend who eats burrito shells and they will let you stay. Well, I um I just think that we should as a people get together. We're way more similar than we are different. I mean, I think we can all agree that we all deserve enough money to live. We all deserve health care that shouldn't bankrupt us, you know? We all agree that, you know, corporations shouldn't control everything. Is it too soon to say chicken of the sea? Yeah. Each has a choice. We can turn to the dark or to the light. Matthew says, I agree. I don't know. I just think that I got a lot of good friends here. I know that if anything ever happened to me, that there would be a huge outcry. So Am I worried? Slightly. What's up, Kelly? What's up, Batty? Nice to have you here. Thank you for being here, by the way. Yeah, I agree, KT. I that's not a true statement, Jen De Leon. He wasn't a Christian his entire life. He was a Christian uh when he became a Christian. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When he decided to. In real life, that makes others want to go after people. Wiping my tear. Are you okay, Kelly? Email me if you need to, Kelly. I'll be available today. What's up, King Charles? I'm just having a little discourse here talking about recent events and how they kind of intertwine and click. We're talking about all kinds of things, the Charlie Kirk thing, what happened in Aurora, what happened in North Carolina, and how they relate. Media is a big problem in this country. You know, back in the day, it used to be three stations that reported facts, and now it's multiple stations reporting opinion and speculation, and nobody gives a fuck about sources anymore, which is why people have to rely on channels like mine, especially here locally, to get the true story. If you believe the local media about Ray Jean's case, well, you know, all that happened was this guy was coming towards an officer with fist and ready to kill this officer. So the officer has no choice but to shoot and kill an unarmed black guy. His name was Ray Jean. So I showed you guys the true videos. Yeah, it's really sad, Kelly. I hate what's going on in this country. I found out CK was the one who said he didn't trust black pilots. My high school BFF was a pilot, black woman. I'm sorry someone took his life, but that's it. Hey everyone. Sorry I'm driving. I can't keep an eye on the chat. Thank you for the update, MLH. You're welcome, King Charles. Thank you for being in here. Marth, welcome. Nice to have you here. What about 3L Atlas and the Golden Gate opening? What about it? Emily, Charlie Kirk's no martyr. He's the cause. Well, I will say that this, Emily, I was not a fan of Charlie Kirk. I don't think he deserved to die in the fashion that he did. You know, I don't think anybody deserves to die that way. You know, just sitting there trying to have a conversation, and then all of a sudden, gunshot. Next thing you know, blood is pouring out. You know, I didn't agree with Charlie Kirk at all. What's up, Barbara? I mean, there were very few things I agreed with Charlie Kirk on, but one thing that I know that we can all agree, just sitting there having a conversation doesn't a sniper doesn't deserve to have the right to take that life. No, sick. That person should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Have you guys actually seen the video? It's horrific. It's horrific. Terrible. Somebody was so angry that they decided that they were going to be the one. That's what's missing is the humanity and compassion and empathy. Why can't we do more things like feed our local homeless people? You have every right to feel that way, Rib Guy says. What I am afraid of is what this leads to. so much hatred inciting that it could go south. If you look at the history, hold on a second here. If you look at the history of political violence in this country and in any other country, you know, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be way more things that we definitely have to be, uh, upset about. Yeah, Chris. Yeah. Did anyone see the fights break out during the individual last night? I don't know what you're referring to, King Charles. How this all relates, right? Like I said, I was very angry Wednesday. I had every right to be. And that cop made it a very, very, and I did say I have an update. I'm going to give you that update here in just a second. He made it kind of untenable for me. I had to take that stream down, even though, you know, it once on the internet, always on the internet. I want to do my part and not make it easy for somebody to find me so that they can try to deport me, you know. Um, it's one thing to be on the internet. It's another thing to take things to real life. And whether or not the individual that talked about deporting me is all bluster is one thing, but what if all it takes is one. Look at what happened to Charlie Kirk. One person out of what, 3,000 people that were there? I didn't see that, King Charles. All it takes is one person to do the wrong thing, to make the wrong phone call. Bringing ice to my I'm not afraid of being deported. Let's just get that straight right now. All my shit's in order. I have a birth certificate. I was born in Denver, Colorado. I've lived here all my life. You know, Bernie was born in Omaha, Nebraska. My mom was born in Missouri. You know, 100% American citizens through and through. I believe in this country, which is why I fight for our rights all the time, especially the First Amendment. I'm not afraid of that, but what if I showed up and a cop took exception to something I said and took out a gun and shot me like they did Ray Jean? I know most of you would be devastated. My family would be. There would be repercussions, of course. I'm a big activist here in Denver. I'm widely known, right? At this point, I think I can safely say I'm a public figure. Yeah. Witchy brought that up earlier, King Charles. Only difference is I'm a citizen. That person was not. I agree, CBF. I'm not a death penalty advocate at all. Yeah, Jen, that's good. Um, LD1. Thank God it's Friday. Exactly. Tonight on the channel is RP Grinders. I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit more about this Charlie Kirk thing. It's definitely going to be a stinko. I have a feeling. Um, Hope you guys join 7 Eastern tonight. That would be excellent. Last week, I know it's not for everybody. It's a video game show, but the second half of the show is when people should tune in, especially all of you. You know, if you get a chance, give it a go, I would say. And make sure you subscribe uh, to RP Grinders. That's the backup channel to this channel. You know, hey, Fabdris, thanks for stopping in, buddy. Really appreciate it. As long as it's not Apex no, I, I think I've talked about Apex Legends when it very first came out a long time ago, Jen, and it's not my type of game. Um, I'm not a multiplayer. I actually play very niche games most of the time, sometimes adventure games, but role-playing games is my jam, RPGs, you know. I don't know, guys. This whole thing is very unsettling, and I know the entire country is unsettled in one way or another. But one thing I do know is I love people in general. I think, and maybe naively so, I believe that the vast majority of people in this country are good. And it's easy to get sidetracked by tragedies and think that everybody is bad, everybody's out to get you, everybody's out to abduct your kids, stranger danger, right? Everybody's a murderer and rapist and all this shit. I don't know. 2 years, Matthew? Right on. Yeah, not very many. I think we got more in the past, couple weeks than the entire existence of, RP Grinders, MTK. But I do appreciate you, man, you know? Are you out of here, Matthew? Alright, Jen, that's cool. I'll pass it on. Oh, well, she gave it to you. I don't have to be the third party. There you go. Thank you, MTK. Alright, guys, I'm gonna end it there. There's lots more to discuss, obviously, but I'll probably vent a little more on RP Grinders tonight, 7 Eastern. Hope you guys, join. That would be most excellent. Um, I do I do have a lot of love for this channel and a lot of love for all of you, you know? Riddle, nice to have you here. I hope you all do have a great day. I know it's tough, especially with recent events. To get through an entire day, it's a lot as a human here in the good old United States of America. There's lots to think about, lots to contemplate. But I do appreciate the support. Any type of support is appreciated. You guys being in here live is a huge thing, and I do appreciate that. Any gifted memberships in general, any monetary stuff, all my links are there, et cetera, et cetera. You know the whole deal. Grifting portion, right? Gotta grift, you know. But I do appreciate all of you, and I hope you guys know that when I do things on this channel, most of the time it's for the betterment of humanity. Even DT, even DT. I really appreciate all of you. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. If you're suffering from your own mental health, please reach out to somebody that you know, love, and trust. In lieu of that, my email is mexicanlonghair@gmail.com. Not a psychiatrist, psychologist, or a counselor, but I do listen. Sometimes that helps. But if I don't get back to you in a timely fashion, just remember somebody out there thinks you are their favorite. Hold on to that thought. It could save your life. There is a hotline you can dial in North America. That number is 988, three simple digits. Please dial it if you're in crisis mode. If you're not in North America, type in your browser of choice mental health help, and that will get you connected with someone that can help you. Please talk to someone. Don't do anything rash, right? I genuinely care about the welfare of everybody. Like I said, I believe the vast majority of people in the world and in this country are good. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here as a species. Guys, have a great day. Try to do something nice. Buy a bottle of water for a homeless person. It'll make their day. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you tonight on RP Grinders.